Everyone, I believe that you're all doing great today. Um, so nice to be here with you again one more time. Today, I want to discuss with you about the secret self. Now, this is a very, very important um, topic when it comes to self concept. The secret self. I probably have, maybe from your previous studies, you might have heard something similar to it, like programming paradigm, and so on and so forth. Beliefs. People even call it ego sometimes, but it really is. It's just a secret self. That's all it is. Okay. And there's no complications about it. It simply means what you believe to be true, which is not quite what you wish to be true. That's just what your secret self is. You believe it to be true, but it is not what you wish it to be true. So you clearly don't want it to be true, but you still believe it to be true, and you don't even realize that that's what you're doing. So it's your secret self. Now, there are three types of secret selves, and there are two ways that we end up, having a secret self. Just so you know, no one forced you to have a secret self. You took it up willingly. Yes, you might have taken it up without knowing that that's what you were doing. Okay, we all do. We all. It's called secret self. That means it's secrets. It's hidden. We don't even realize that we have it there all the way. Sometimes, but we still unconsciously do it. There's a funny story that happened some months back. One day I was sleeping, and I was asked to do something, but I was sleeping, and I was doing quite the opposite of what I was asked to do because I was sleeping. I didn't even realize it. So when I woke, I was told that when I asked you to do this, you were doing the opposite of what I asked you to do. And I was like, really? I did that? I didn't even realize that I did it. I didn't even know I was doing something like that. I couldn't believe what you were saying. But that's the case, That's just it. I didn't know that I was doing it, but I was doing it. I was unconscious when I was doing it. The same goes for all of us. Many times we react to people, to things, to situations and circumstances in life, unknown to us that those reactions are actually creating a belief in us that what we've just reacted to right now is a true, real, or serious circumstance that we have to work about. And that is how we end up with our secret selves. All of us. So we chose it willingly, even though we didn't choose it intentionally. And those two words are not quite the same thing. We chose it unconsciously. Okay? Now maybe the word isn't willingly exactly, but we still chose it. I could say maybe the key word I'm looking for is that we must be responsible for the secret self before we can change it. Now, let me share something with you about the secret self. I said there are three types of it, and it happens in two ways. We end up having it in two ways, but I'll just talk about those three types. Now, I would invite you, of course, to take my book and pre-order it, The Power of Self-Concept. It's coming up July 1st is the date set for release. Alright, July 1st. That's a month away from now. And you can pre-order it now for a whopping 60% discount. So you get to enjoy the pre-order. You also be on the front row of those who get to have it. And it's going to be so beautiful. Now, this is the thing about the secret self. The three types that are. The first is our superstitions. The second is our prejudices, and the third is our false beliefs. They're not quite the same thing, but they work the same way. The simple work every secret self has is to sabotage us from achieving the goals or reaching the objectives that we really have. And a person can harbor their secret self throughout life, as in from say when they grow up to be aware of things. Let's say from when they're 9-10 years old up until 59 years old, and they're trying to achieve one particular thing in their life. All those 50 years of their life or 40 years of their life, trying to achieve something in particular, and they have a secret self, maybe a prejudice, maybe a superstition, or maybe a false belief that is in their mind, in their consciousness, from age 9, and they never really do anything about it until age 59, so, or age 49, let's say, or 50. So from all those 40 years, right, they try to work hard, they try to get the people, they try to do things, they even go into personal development. Okay, they go into personal development, go into mysticism, into all of those things, but never really change the secret self. You know what happens? They never achieve the objective. I was speaking to someone, a friend of mine, about last week. Yes, I think, yes, well, about a week ago now. And I was telling him about the fact that, he said, so do you mean a person who was like 60 something years old can use this law of imagination and it becomes successful even though they have failed all their life? And I said yes. And I said, in fact, it would surprise you to know that a person that we think has failed all their life has probably only failed for a real time only once or twice in their life, and then they kept repeating that failure for the rest of their life. So if you take 50 years of a person failing, they probably only really failed in just 1 month. 1 month of a secret self, and they fail to achieve an objective, but they keep being stuck on that secret self for the rest of their 50 years. And you wonder, do people really live like that? Yes, people do. It's no brainer. You don't have to try to, react to people's situations and circumstances before you see it. Just look at people's income, okay? Some persons could earn the same amount of money for 3 years, and they actually wish to have better, to earn better. And they keep earning the same income every month for 36 months. Now that sounds to me like, and they want better. Now if they don't want any better, that's not a problem, that's okay. But if they want something better and they still don't get it, then definitely they have a secret self. And they keep repeating the same situation for 3 years. So people actually repeat situations, failures, for years, decades sometimes. And it's all because of the secret self. So I mentioned that there are 3 types, and I would actually like to give you an idea of what the 3 types are. The first is superstitions. Now what is a superstition? A superstition is a false cause, a belief in a false cause, period. That's it, a belief in a false cause. I don't care wherever you get that false cause from. If your cause for an event is not the imagination, if when you think of achieving something, the only way you know to achieve it, to accomplish it, is not consciousness, it's not imagination, then you have a false cause, you have a superstition. Now that doesn't mean that you wouldn't achieve 1 or 2 things with your superstitions. You will achieve 1 or 2 things when your belief about the condition is fulfilled by the condition itself taking place. Say for example, you believe that if you wake up 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, then you're going to have a quick day, you'll be punctual to work. Now you wake up 6 a.m. exactly tomorrow morning. You know what would happen to you? You'd actually be punctual to work. But the problem with it is that the day you wake up 5 a.m. I mean 5 a.m. earlier, you would have the struggle, the worry that you wouldn't make it, you wouldn't be punctual to work. And yes, you would wake up 5 a.m. an hour earlier and you still fail to make it to work on time. You would be late. Why? Because you're superstitious about 6 a.m. You think 6 a.m. is the cause of punctuality, and it is not. It's your imagination. You're imagining that you're punctual, but you condition that punctuality on being on time, on waking on time at 6 a.m. So you've conditioned punctuality on 6 a.m. and therefore you have a false cause. 6 a.m., you want it or not, is the God of this person who's thinking that way until the day they learn to change it. To make 6 a.m. not relevant to whether they are punctual or late. They just go on, well, if I imagine I'm punctual, I'm punctual. If I imagine I'm late, I'm late. If I'm late, I must have imagined it. It's not because I woke 5 a.m. or I woke 7 a.m. If I'm punctual, I must have imagined it. It's not because I found the bus on the right time, or I have a driver to take me straight to place, or I have a car of my own. If the moment you learn to think that way and to see life that way, you've broken off that superstition. So superstition is not what people do when they go to temples and bow, or they go to, or they're like, no, don't do that. If you do X, it's going to cause Y, and you don't want Y. You know, when I was a child, I remember one of the superstitions that my parents shared with me was that if we cut nails, our fingernails, if we cut it and we cut it in the house and we put it anywhere on the house and we litter the house with it, then they would be fighting their household. So whenever I saw people fighting in their households as a child, I always thought, someone must have cut fingernails there and not clear it away. Okay, but that was my secret self for a long time. But you know what that actually did? That made me see a lot of households fighting. That's the result of that secret self. I literally saw lots of people fighting in their households, including, of course, my own household when I was growing up. But then you learn to change it, and then to learn to realize that it's all my imagination. It has nothing to do with the secret self of with a false cause. So that's superstition. False cause. Your belief in a false cause makes you worship that false cause as the condition by which something happens, and in the moment that condition is fulfilled, you suddenly find yourself releasing the belief that the consequence would naturally happen, and so the consequence would naturally happen. Now we have that. We also have the second one is prejudice. Now prejudice is you thinking that people and things are in a certain way. That's prejudice. Whether it's an individual prejudice, the way you think about someone, or it's a universal prejudice. That is the way maybe your state tends to think about other states, the way your tribe tends to think about other tribes. Any prejudice that you are personally entertaining, okay, that prejudice is yours, and it simply limits you from being the greatest of yourself. It's a terrible way of hidden concept of self, okay, of the secret self. Now, what makes a prejudice? For example, an individual prejudice, okay, one-on-one could be something like, the people in this community, they don't like to buy from me. That's a prejudice from a trader to their potential customers. Guess what would actually happen? They would find those people are not willing to buy. Then they could actually combine a prejudice with a false cause, such as, okay, people in this community are not willing to buy from me, but maybe if I am able to appeal to their religious taste by making a religious watchword or a religious tag on my business, then maybe they're going to be interested in buying with me or from me. Now, that is a really thickened secret self. You know, it's like a secret self barbecue that is well made. That's it. Okay, so that's the second prejudice. When you think people are in a certain way, if for example you're in a country where they think that people in that country X are like this, people in America are like that, people in India are like that, people in Nigeria are like this, that's your prejudice. And that prejudice is going to, in a way or another, make the events that you have the prejudice about work its way down to you. If, for example, you think people in this location or this locality that they are of this dishonest behavior, what would happen would be that as much as you try to avoid interactions and relationships with them, at some point in time in your life, you would find yourself stuck with them in a relationship that you cannot escape until that particular behavior you've been suspecting. Now, that I said that our secret self comes in two ways. It's either through self-justification or self-righteousness, and both ways actually have a channel. We call it suspicion. So the way you've been suspecting that it would behave eventually happened. That's it. Now, the third type is false beliefs. What is a false belief, really? A false belief is simply your acceptance of failure as final. That's a false belief. When you think that because you failed at the first, second, or third attempt about something in life, that failure is final. Or when you think that, because you failed at this one thing, then you failed because this particular one thing that you failed at, you failed at it because of X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z are still in place. There's nothing you can do about it, so you failed forever. That is false belief. Okay? Take the case of Neville's story of how he manifested the discharge from the army back home in 1943. So he said, imagine, he actually first tendered the discharge request, and it was denied. Now, what did he do? Did he have a false belief and go, okay, that's the end of it, nothing I can do about it, I can't escape this place, I have to serve my time here? No, it didn't. What did he do? He simply switched, he changed. He went from thinking that way to imagine it night after night that he actually is back at home. Wait, the circumstances say it is impossible, but he didn't entertain a false belief. If he had gone, okay, it's impossible now, that would have been a false belief. So those are the three types: superstitions, prejudices, and false beliefs. Your task with yourself is to remove all this away from you in any area of life. See, when it comes to anything in your life, you already have some premonitions, some prejudices of sorts, or superstitions, or things of that nature that you want to remove from yourself. Say money. How do you think money works? Do you think that you have to earn money at the end of the month after you've worked for a month long, for as long as a month? Then that's what a superstition. You're thinking time is the cause of money, so you are superstitious with money. Or do you think that if you have this kind of partner or this kind of employer, they would always find ways to cheat you? They just, or maybe in fact you think that my particular employer is trying to cheat me, it doesn't like to pay me well. Now that's another false belief. That's rather a prejudice. When it comes to false beliefs, maybe did you think that, okay, because in the last 5 months, the only thing you've ever been paid is a certain amount of money, no matter how much you try to apply for something more, or apologies for the noise, no matter how much you try to apply for something more, it never comes. Now that is another false belief. Because really you can revise that you've been earning more than that. You can change the concept of self about how much you've been earning, how much you've been worth all the way. So this is actually something that we will cover so well in chapter 2. And then learning this whole book, the whole book of self-concept, is really about how you can change your self-concept from all these terrible and loving things that are in you, but you didn't even realize they are there because you reacted to them a long time ago and they were stuck there. You think that way, you don't even know you think that way. Then we will learn to do our self-observation, to know how we're thinking. Then we'll learn to do our definition of it, to know what we want now. What is the new thing we want in life? And then now to change to that new thing. And then we'll learn to detach. And detachment is really, it's beautiful. It doesn't mean to let go of the wish fulfilled. No, it means to let go of all of the secret self, flush it out of your system by focusing on the wish fulfilled. It's a beautiful and powerful process, and it works. It works 1000%. Oh, do I have to even announce that? Yes, well, I can announce it. It works. But I'm saying it works not because I'm trying to say it works from reading a book or something. I'm saying it works because that's what works in my life. Earlier today, someone asked me something. He said, teach us how to make this money. And then he said, oh, is it still imagination? And I go, yes, it is still imagination. It is imagination. So, it works. It works to the point everyone that I know, that I see around me can tell it. They can tell something is different every now and then. I mean, people even see me on a daily basis. So, what do you want to do? Want to remain the same? Keep the same thing going on decade after decade, year after year, month after month? Or do you want to change right now? See, listen, if the way you describe your world yesterday is the same way you could describe your world 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and last month, and 2 months ago, and 5 months ago, and last year, and there's barely any difference. I mean, it's just like a difference in the places where the circumstances are taking place, but the same circumstances. If that's the case, then you probably want to, not probably, you really, really want to pre-order this book and get ready for that transformation on July 1st. Okay, so that's the lesson today, and I believe that you get it, that you're going to make the best and fantastic use of it. Talk to you later, everyone. Bye bye.